Home Products Live. I am Jen. This is Ken.
And we are here to make your day better.
That's right. And we are so excited. Healthier Home Products is launching a new product, which if you have not seen it yet, it's just going to blow your mind. So Ken, what are we going to be talking to people about today?
We're talking about their dirty laundry.
Their dirty laundry. And we're not talking about your secrets, people.
That's right. This is not a Don Henley song.
Yes, we're continuing our conversation from our last show, which was about kind of how plastics are taking over the environment and one small thing that we can all do that is doable and also effective for what we need it for.
Yeah, and I honestly believe this from the bottom of my heart, that I think a lot of this starts with just awareness. That's really it. I think as soon as people become aware of some things, then you want to make some changes, but you gotta make people aware of some things. So that's why we talked about last week and this week we're dedicating some time to plastic. That first piece was about the microplastics. Now we're going to talk about the packaging itself. So very interesting information, though.
Okay, all right. Well, hit us with it.
So remember last week we talked, or was it last week we talked about? Oh yeah, we talked. We skipped a week. That's why we skipped a week last week. Bess was.
You missed me. I know. It's totally upset. It scrambled your brain. You missed me so much.
It did actually. But anyway, there was the waiter, and he said, can I get you a glass of water? And well, can I get you something to drink? And it was, yes, I'll take a plastic and water. Remember how we talked about that?
Yes.
So today we got another one, Jen.
Oh, goody.
So you want to be the mom or you want to be the child?
I feel like I want to be the child because I feel like I'm always the mom.
Okay, so I'll be the parent. We'll just say parent.
Okay.
So the parent says, honey, did you enjoy your swim?
Yes. Thanks for the plastic oceans.
Sounds kind of funny, right? Thanks for the plastic oceans, but it really is true. And it's so unbelievable. And I'll use this as an example a couple of times. If you ever see that show, either Bear Grylls or you could see Naked and Afraid, they'll send these people to some remote island out in the middle of nowhere. You kind of circumvent the globe and you look around and you say, oh, we'll go to this spot. And there's nobody living there. So these two people wind up on an island and they're sitting out there by themselves. And as they're looking around, you see plastic everywhere. There's plastic things that pop up on this beach all over the place. Well, how does it get there? Well, kind of our lifestyle, Jen. It's kind of our lifestyle.
So anyway, we become like obsessed with convenience, which on the one hand, I totally understand and empathize with because I'm a mom. I want things to be as simple and easy as possible because raising kids is hard, but we're kind of sacrificing something. So what I love about what you're about to show us is that we can achieve our goal and not sacrifice so much. So keep going.
Yeah, there's certainly things we can do to minimize that. So again, last week when we were talking about microplastics, we were actually talking about the fibers of your clothing that were shedding plastic and how these pods that we've got, we invented, we actually smooth the fibers of your clothing, and it does such a terrific job cleaning. It takes less abuse on the fiber, so you have less microplastics going into the ocean. So that's just one piece of it. But now we're going to talk about the second piece of this laundry conundrum we've got. So let's move on here.
All righty.
So laundry bottles. Now, if you look at the majors, and we'll just say some. Obviously, these are registered trademark names, but Procter & Gamble might have Tide or All, or there might be Ricket Benkai's or all Arm & Hammer. All of these laundry places are producing, each brand, hundreds of millions of plastic jugs every single year with their products. And this is really what it looks like. This is a filling line, and you'll see just miles of jugs coming down this line. And then they get filled with a little spigot that fills them up with their detergent. Then they wind up in warehouses, like on this bottom picture, where you see pallets stacked upon pallets that are in rows as high as you can be, and it might be hundreds of feet long and wide. There's that many of these things going out there. We produce just gazillions of these things. Now, that's the production half of it. So spin the next slide here, Ms. Bess. And 90% of these, over 90% of these laundry bottles wind up in our water or in landfills. And that's just a picture on the top of a landfill. That one is in Asia, but it really could be anywhere.
Which is so upsetting too, because half the time we throw these things into our recycling bin and we think they're being recycled, but you have to reach like pristine. The item has to be so clean in order to recycle it, doesn't it? That like a lot of this stuff just goes to the dump.
Yeah, and there are issues with that. Some places are a little more advanced than others, but in general, you have to rinse out your bottle to make it uh, more useful on the other end. Because if someone has to take a lot of steps to make something recyclable, there's a dollar and cents thing to it. Maybe they won't, so maybe it'll wind up in the landfill anyway. But this next slide on the bottom was I actually turned this into a GIF, but it's not going to show on this slide. No, let's go back up. This is actually that is a river of plastic, and it's really impactful when you watch this lower slide. You're just seeing tons of plastic going down this river, and it's just because that's an easy way. This is again in Asia. It's just an easy way to get rid of something. You might have mounds of this stuff, and the water's running down that way, so they just throw it out there. But it winds up in our oceans. It winds up in our oceans, and I always say this, Jen: whose water is it?
Yeah, like who cares, right? It's floating down the river. I don't care. I don't have a river next to my house.
But it's all of our water.
I agree.
That's the bottom line. It's all of our water. So anyway,
agree.
so that next one. So this is what's happening. 90% of these things wind up in our water and our landfills. So the point is less than 9% of all plastic gets recycled. Less than 9%. So even if you think you're a good shepherd and you're doing your job, only 9. We've got a lot of room to improve on that number for one thing.
Yes, yes.
And then you made this great point. You made this great point in the second slide here. 50% of the plastic that winds up in these places is just single-use plastic. It's a water bottle. It's a laundry jug. You used it once and you just throw it out. That is now some plastics we need, in medical, or there might be some reasons. Cars, or a lot of cars are made in plastic, but that's something for a long time, maybe 20, 30 years it's got use. But one-time plastic, that's a scary number. 50% of this stuff is one-time use and thrown out. So what does this account to? Well, 10 million tons of plastic are dumped into our oceans annually. That's more than a garbage truck every minute.
Do they actively dump it into the ocean, or it just finds its way there?
It's both. It could be both, but yes, it's definitely finds its way there for sure. I mean,
Wow.
that's the big thing. So, and then this last slide is really incorrect. It's correct that it's incorrect. So it says 1 million animals, are killed with this. That might be a turtle in a net. It might be, a crab caught in a plastic contraption or whatever. But that number is actually higher, as you talked about last week, because microplastics are finding their way into 100% of shellfish. It's now working its way into the food chain, and it's shortening life. So it's going to have a dramatic impact as we move along.
Yeah.
So my question is, you see these massive, laundry jugs thing, and we'll go one more. We're not. You went too far, Bess. Come back.
Roll it back just a smidge.
One more. There we go. So laundry jugs. How long does it take for these things to decompose? How long does it take?
Well, it says centuries. So
that is correct. It's actually UV. The sun's UV breaks down plastic, but it takes centuries in the best of conditions.
Yeah.
So every time you got a single-use laundry jug that you're taking and using it once and throwing it out, and next week doing the same thing, it's going to take centuries every time one of those is gone.
That is so sad.
And the takeaway for this is by 2050, we are going to have more plastic than fish in the oceans. And that is scary.
Yeah.
That's
very scary. Yeah.
So moving along, now we can move along, Bess. So these sinister plastic jugs that we look at, you see these things and they'll put on there up to 100 loads, up to 146 loads, 116 loads. And sometimes it just says it outright, but is it really that amount of loads? And the answer is no, it's not even close, because what they do, next slide, please. They give you these ginormous caps on these things, which instead of filling in, what might be the measured amount over here, people just, because of the measuring cup, it's a measuring cup, right? It's so big, they fill it up. So instead of getting 100 loads, you're really only getting 20.
Yeah. Well, and you can they'll put the numbers in there, but you can barely see them.
Right. That is absolutely correct. So now the next thing that's difficult to deal with this is, I think you go to the next slide. I'm not sure if that one's on there, but what's inside these? What's the biggest ingredient inside these giant laundry jugs?
I don't know.
Well, I can read it for you on this side. Water. Water is the biggest component. So they're adding water to these things, giving you a giant cup, making you all it's doing is expediting
shipping it across the country.
And all what you're doing is making this plastic problem happen much quicker, make it happen much bigger, and it's got to stop.
Yeah.
Got to stop.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What did we do, Jen?
Drum roll, please.
We're thoughtful people. We've got this great formula that was inside this pod that does all these wonderful things, but we said, let's not package it, because you'll see even things, you'll see a laundry detergent, let's just say, oh, the name might rhyme with pride. I don't know. But it'll be a pod that's very colorful, which that's why kids are eating these things, because it looks like candy. Very shameful, in my opinion, very shameful.
Yeah.
We don't add any colors to our pods. These are clear. These are clear. There's nothing to make it look enticing. But the package itself, it looks like a washing machine, right? But the most important thing, it's cardboard.
Yeah.
100% plastic-free packaging. And that makes my heart go pitter-pat. So not only are we doing something to address the clothing inside the box with this wonderful product, the package itself is 100% plastic-free. How about that?
I absolutely love it. I feel like this helps solve the problem and also keeps the waste out of the equation.
Absolutely. So it's a win-win across the board. So this product, not only did I tell you this next slide here, Bess, the product not only has all these benefits, but the first thing it starts with, it is a kick butt cleaner. This thing will out clean national brands. It's gonna take care of your laundry needs like anything else. That's our baseline. We know people want something to clean, but it's a clean ocean formula. It's designed to reduce microplastics, and it's packaged in 100% plastic-free packaging. So I just look at that as the holy grail of what we were really after when we started with the laundry. And I can't wait to turn this on to people, because they're going to love the product for what it does, and they're also going to love what you're not handing down to your kids, which is a plastic, mess.
Yeah, I love it. And is this available for customers to get right now?
Right now, it is on healthierhomeproducts.com, and we have your hubby, Corey, put together a beautiful deal that involves free shipping. I think it's on the next slide. It might be, but at least the website's on there. So yes, it is available right now as we speak, healthierhomeproducts.com. So people, you can now you know the problem, which is great, but now you can do something. You don't have to just say, I know of a bad problem. Now I've got a good solution for it.
Yes.
So come to our website, see our bright, shiny faces, and see our helpful products, and you'll feel better about it in the end.
Absolutely. There's that website again, healthierhomeproducts.com. Ken, it's great to see you. I'll see you again next week.
Great to see you too, Jen.